Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our aspects video. And today we are going to be doing the aspects of Saturn. Yes. And what happens when Saturn is looking at different houses in your horoscope. And if you do not know where Saturn is placed in your horoscope, what sign it's in, what house it's in, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, where on the second page you will see exactly where each planet is placed, including my books Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects at the Speed of Light, where I cover all the aspects through all the houses and all the details and meaning that you ever want to know about aspects. Okay, so let's get started with our Saturn aspect. So, ladies and gentlemen, Saturn, the old wise men who are supposed to bring lessons and karma and misery, hard work upon you. Saturn that makes you want to realize your practical world. He wants you to get out of your illusion, get out of your daydreaming world, and to see that there is a world full of potential out there. That's what Saturn is here in your life to do. Because, I mean, astrologically speaking, Saturn, represents a boundary. It limits you from what you can do and what you can achieve. And Saturn's job is to make you realize that in order for you to get out of that boundary, to leave this boundary of Saturn and have limitless life, you have to work hard. You have to be disciplined. You have to organize everything, including your plan. How are you going to execute your plan to leave the boundary of Saturn? That's what Saturn is here for. Saturn is here to teach us a lesson that if you strategize your aim, if you're disciplined and have patience, and yet you work hard like hell, by mixing all these things together, you'll be able to achieve your goal. And, it's funny, I was watching this documentary last night, The Edge of Our Universe. And looking at each planet, when they were going through from sun all the way to the edges of our universe, they went through each planet. And when they came up to Saturn, if you really go to Saturn, Saturn is so light that it will float on water. Compared to Jupiter, Saturn is far more calm, peaceful, beautiful. And that's where I feel that is the true essence of each planet. Jupiter is this great expander of things, whether good or bad, where Saturn is just mysteriously working in the back. It's light. It's actually beautiful. It's pleasant to be nearby Saturn. But it's that fear, that veil that we have in front of us that makes us think, oh no, Saturn, the great destroyer of things. So Saturn, in a way, is an extremely important planet. But why is it that in Vedic astrology, Saturn has 3 aspects instead of just one? Saturn looks at the 3rd place from itself, wherever it sits. It looks at the 7th place from itself, like any other planet. And then it looks at the 10th place from itself. So if, let's say, your Saturn is in the 2nd house, Saturn will aspect the 4th house, 8th house, and 11th house. If Saturn is in your 4th house in your horoscope, it will aspect the 6th house, 10th house, and the ascendant. So no matter where it's placed, so in 1st house, if you have Saturn in the ascendant, it will aspect the 3rd house, 7th house, and 10th house. But why is Saturn giving these aspect, the special aspect, 3rd and 10th? Have you ever thought about that? Why was Saturn given these aspect through our brilliant sages? Saturn looks at the 3rd place from itself, which shows what? It's the nature of Saturn, which is effort. You have to put effort in order for you to achieve anything to its maximum strength, to its maximum potential. So wherever Saturn sits, And when he's looking at the third place from itself, it shows you must put effort into that place in order for you to read the results of that house. So let's say if Saturn is in your first house and looks at your third house, Saturn will say that, look, if you just sit on your ass and not put any effort, you will always have some sort of a struggle with your siblings. You will always have problem with completing things because of the fact you're not putting effort, because third house is our effort in itself. Third house is a house of effort. And when Saturn aspects the third house, says you need to put double the effort here in order for you to achieve something. When it comes to your communication, when it comes to collecting information, using information, writing, any kind of travel that you want to make, all of it will require you to put effort. But you keep putting effort in, and yet you feel like, why is it not working out? Because people forget all the other angles of Saturn. It's not just effort that you have to put. You have to, first of all, be disciplined of how persistent you are towards that effort. You have to be organized. You have to organize your plan for the third house. If you're not good in communication, you have to organize. Okay, what if I write something before I say it? What if I have somebody else look at it before I do something related to announcing something, related to pursuing information, collecting information? And then structure, which is Saturn. How are you structuring your effort? Which kind of comes into the same realm as organization. And once you do these three things, that's when Saturn rewards you. So third house effort of Saturn, you got to realize, if you put effort towards those things, and you are, because he's making you put your effort towards those things, you will gain more than anybody else through those things where you have to put your effort in. If you put a half-assed effort, which most of you do, it's not going to do it. I on a regular daily basis, people email me regarding like career consultation and like, well, I'm trying, it's not happening. I want to do something creative with technology, it's not happening. And then I ask them, what are you doing? Give me in a paragraph. Sometimes I ask them, so what have you done? What is it that you are doing? And out of the day, how many hours are you working on it? So they're working probably once a week on it. They're relying on other resources to make those things happen. Like they're feeling like, I don't have any support of my family, my friends, I don't have any network circles, I don't have a bank loan to do this thing that I want to do. Please help. And that's where they lose. Because if you have to really think that by getting a loan from someone, your business will take off, or you want to achieve this particular goal and go ahead and do this, not going to happen. You work once a week towards that effort, not going to happen. This guy was going to give auditions probably 2 or 3 times a month. And he wants to be an actor. And I'm pretty sure he's watching me, because I just did his consultation yesterday. He's going 2 or 3 times a month, yet nothing is happening. And that's where I laughed when I heard that from him. Because an average actor that you see just on commercials, who appears on commercials, and then maybe they come into sitcoms once here, once there, then they slowly get a movie role, then they're slowly there. Do you know how bad do they have to hustle to be there? They have to go through 2 or 3 auditions per day, not 3 auditions per month. That's where Saturn comes into play. You're not using your Saturn. Simple. Saturn's not going to reward you. Then Saturn looks at the 7th house from itself, wherever it is. Saturn says you're going to have to put effort in engaging with people where I am throwing my 7th aspect. So Saturn is in the 4th house, looks at the 10th house, shows the people that you come in your professional life, you're going to have to put a lot of effort in order to make your deals. In order to get your reputation in a very, or have a very good reputation in society, you're going to have to work hard. And you're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have to organize how you represent yourself outside, and how are you executing that plan? Meaning, what is the structure of you showing your image to the world? If you don't care, if you don't plan anything, oh, I'm going to destroy you. That's what Saturn does. Saturn is in the ascendant, looks at the 7th house. Does what? Brings frustration in marriage when you marry early. Because all you want to do is just, well, I got to marry, so I'm just going to marry. And then when the responsibility hits, when the reality of marriage hits, you want to run away. Why? Because Saturn said, first of all, have patience. Don't rush into marriage. Be organized about how you behave in your marriage. Have a structure on how are you going to run your marriage. And most of all, be practical about your marriage. Don't think like you're going to find a husband who's always going to have a bed of roses for you, or a wife that is just going to be in a lingerie and waiting for you every evening in bed. No. You're going to get a spouse who's practical, who's realistic, who's going to get on your ass for not taking the kids to the soccer game, who's going to get on you for not paying the bill on time, and it's going to get frustrated. Why? Because Saturn wants to show you the reality of marriage. Yet if you are patient, if you wait till your timing of marriage comes in, and then you marry, you're like, hey, I know what marriage is. It's not fun and games. It's a partnerships. It's reality. You got to pay the bills. You got to pay the mortgage. You got to take care of the kids. All right. I'm putting the effort in. We got to get a 401k retirement plan. We got to get the 520k plan for our kids' education. Okay. So then Saturn is like, all right, you're putting effort into your marriage. I like that. Let me probably reward you with whatever. You will have a great, prosperous marriage because you're putting so much effort into it. So, what is the 10th aspect of Saturn then? Why is it that Saturn has been given the 10th aspect? Well, 10th house from any house supposed to represent your work environment, your reputation, your image, and how you deal with authorities in your life, how you deal with the government in your life. Well, just because Saturn is aspecting the 10th place from itself doesn't mean that is your career. No. What Saturn is saying that your reputation, your image into that house, and the authoritative figures that you're going to deal with in that house will require the exact same thing. Hard work, discipline, and organization. So if you have Saturn in the 1st house, looks at your 10th house, you're going to have to put an effort towards how your reputation is in society. Because it's looking at the actual 10th house itself. You're going to have to find discipline between you and your bosses. Your bosses are going to expect you to be disciplined. You're going to run into very high senior authorities in your life that you're going to be dealing with. And your reputation is going to depend upon how you deal with this house. So, we can take any house for that matter. If Saturn, let's say, is in your 3rd house, Saturn aspects the 12th house. Shows that you're going to have to work hard, be disciplined and organized about how your reputation is amongst your spiritual gurus. How your reputation is and what results you're going to be having in foreign places, foreign lands. And also it's showing that you're going to have to strategize to minimize your losses. Because it's looking at the 12th house. So each house, Saturn has its hand on. Because Saturn is a karka of, or Saturn really represents our status in society. What people think of us, how people perceive us, because Saturn originally rules the sign of Capricorn, the 10th house, from the original zodiac belt, which is from Aries. And the 10th place from itself is Capricorn, Saturn. So Saturn really becomes that karka of the 10th aspect of our life. And this is why anywhere it looks at the 10th house, you're going to have to work. Like Saturn in the 4th house looks at the ascendant, you yourself. You're going to have to take care of your health. You're going to have to exercise, be disciplined about when you sleep, when you wake up. Otherwise, Saturn's going to frustrate you towards your thing, towards your reputation, which is again the first house, because everybody sees you. The first house becomes a house of fame. Your fame will depend upon how disciplined and organized you are about your appearance, what you wear, how you comb your hair. Do you shave or not? Should you shave or not? All of these things, Saturn will make your reputation appear. So first and 10th house and the 7th house becomes important, this angle, because it's where you're interacting with other people outside of yourself, or other people are looking at you, the ascendant. And this is what Saturn aspect means. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Saturn's aspect. If you're new in my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your Saturn is placed, what house it's in, sign it's in, all my books and consultations, for that check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with either sun video or something else. Otherwise, bye-bye.